Hi everybody. So today we're going to be working on some fraction stuff from your new learning package. We're going to be specifically looking at the paper called Skittles Problem. So on this paper, it's asking you to find the fraction of the amount of colored Skittles in the package, and then it's asking you to find which fraction is half. So remember, you can find out what fraction is half by drawing it out and seeing if half of it is the amount of Skittles that are in the bag. So if, let's say, the purple Skittles is 8 out of 16, then that would be half, because if I drew that and colored in 8, then I would have 8 colored in and 8 not colored in, so it would be half. If I did 16 divided by 8, it would be 2, so I know that that would be half. But then it's asking you if you can make the fraction any smaller. So today we're going to work on that. We're going to work on reducing fractions or making them smaller. So I'm going to do an example that's not on the sheet. I'm going to start off with 4 out of 8. And I want to see if I can make this any smaller. So I know that 4 out of 8 is half because 8 divided by 2 is 4. And if I have a circle that has 8 pieces and I color in 4, that's half. So I know that if I do 8 divided by 4, that gives me 2. So this is half. But I want to make this fraction smaller. So since I just did 8 divided by 4, and that equals 2, I'm going to take this 2, and I'm going to divide my numerator and denominator by 2 and see if it can get me something smaller. So if I do 4 divided by 2 and 8 divided by 2, I want to see what happens. So 4 divided by 2 would mean I have 2 circles and I have to get rid of 4. So I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, there's 2 in each circle, so 4 divided by 2 equals 2. So my new top number would be 2. So now I'm going to do 8 divided by 2. I've got 2 circles and I have to get rid of 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 4 in each circle. I know that 8 divided by 2 is 4. So 4 is going to be my new denominator, my new bottom number. So I've already made this smaller. But can I make 2 out of 4 any smaller? Well, I know that 4 divided by 2 is 2. So maybe I can try dividing the numerator and denominator by 2 here and see what happens. So 2 divided by 2 and 4 divided by 2. So 2 divided by 2, I've got 2 circles and I have to get rid of the 2. So 1, 2. Each circle has 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2, I've got 2 circles and I have to get rid of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 2 in each circle, so I know that 4 divided by 2 is 2. So this brings me to 1/2. And what I said at the beginning is that we knew that 4 out of 8 is 1/2, and I've reduced this fraction or made it smaller to 1 out of 2. So 4 out of 8 is half, 2 out of 4 is half, and 1 out of 2 is half. So this is just showing me what I said before, that I know that 4 out of 8 is half, and I was able to reduce it to make it 1 out of 2. So I did this by starting off with taking my 4 out of 8 and then saying, okay, I'm going to do 8 divided by 4, and it's giving me 2. So I'm going to try to divide both the numerator and the denominator by 2. But I was looking at my Cuisenaire rods, and I have the 4 here, which is the purple one, and I have the brown one here, which is 8. And I also have my little ones here. So I'm putting my ones on top of my 4, and I see that 4 ones can fit in the 4, right? I know that 4 ones can definitely fit in the 8. So I'm going to add another 4 to my 8 because 8 ones would fit on here. Oops. Just like this. But if I take 4 off of the 8 and put 4 onto the 4, so I've got 4 on here and 4 on here, this is telling me right now that I can divide both of these numbers by 4. I can't divide both of these numbers by 8 because 8 ones are not going to fit on this little tiny 4. That would be too much. But 4 can definitely fit on the 8, and 4 can definitely fit. 4 ones can definitely fit on the 4. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to try dividing my numerator into my denominator by 4. So 4 divided by 4, I would have 4 circles, and I have to get rid of the 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I can see that there's 1 in each circle. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. So my new numerator would be 1. I'm going to do 8 divided by 4. So 8 divided by 4, I have 4 circles and I need to get rid of 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can see that I have 2 in each circle. So my new denominator is 2. So I got to 1/2 much quicker than I got to 1/2 before, because before I was dividing that by 2. And that's totally fine. If that's a way that you want to try and figure it out, that's totally fine. But if you're thinking that you want to try and find a quicker way, well, all I did was divide this by 4, because I saw that I could fit 4 ones on here, and I could also fit 4 ones on my 8. So I'm going to try another example. This time I'm going to try 6 divided by 12. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did at the start with 4 divided by 8. I know that 6 out of 12 is half, because 12 divided by 6 is 2. So I'm going to take this 2 again, and I'm going to divide the numerator and the denominator by 2, and I'm going to see what it gets me. So 6 divided by 2 and 12 divided by 2. So 6 divided by 2, I've got 2 circles, and I've got to get rid of the 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 3 in each circle, so my new numerator is going to be 3. And then I have 12 divided by 2. So I'm going to do 2 circles here and get rid of the 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I have 6 dots in each circle. So my new denominator, is going to be 6. So I've got 3 out of 6. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to do 6 divided by 3, and I'm going to see what I get. So 6 divided by 3, I'm going to have 3 circles, and I need to get rid of the 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I've got my answer 2 again. So I'm going to try dividing the top number and the bottom number by 2. So I know that 6 divided by 2 is 3, so my new denominator would already be 3. But I don't know what 3 divided by 2 is. So I have 2 circles, and I have 3, and I have to get rid of them. So 1, 2, 3. But this doesn't work because I've only got 1 here, and I've got 2 here. So 3 divided by 2 actually doesn't work. So you might be thinking, well, this is the smallest that I can make this. But I know that 6 out of 12 is half, and I know that 3 out of 6 is half, because when I have 6 pieces and I color in 3, it's half. And when I do 6 divided by 3, it's 2, and that means it's half. So how could I make this smaller? So I'm going to show you with the Cuisenaire rods what I did before. So here is the 3. It's the green one. And we know that 3 ones can fit on it. So I've got my 3 ones. And I'm going to take my 6. So my 6 is the dark green one. And I know that I can fit 3, obviously, on it. Like this. But since it's a 6, I know I can fit another 3. So I can fit 6 ones on here. So if I take 3 off and put them on this 3, it's the same as the 4 and the 8. So I've got 3 here and I've got 3 here. So I know that I can divide these both by 3. I can't divide these both by 6 because that would be too many for the tiny 3, right? 6 isn't going to fit on here. But 3 fits on here, and 3 also fits on here, and it's exactly half. So I'm going to try dividing this by 3. So if I did 3 divided by 3, I would have 3 circles, and I would get rid of the 3. So 1, 2, 3. So I can see that there's 1 circle in each of them, and I know that 3 divided by 3 is 1. If I'm doing 6 divided by 3, I've got to get rid of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can see that there's 2 in each circle, so my denominator is 2, so it's 1/2. It's exactly like before, because 6 out of 12 I know is half. I know that 3 out of 6 is half, and I know that 1 out of 2 is half. So this is all half, and I've just made 6 out of 12 smaller to 1 out of 2. So, I want to try another one. I'd like to try 8 out of 16 and see what we get with that. So 8 out of 16, like this. I know that if I do 16 divided by 8, it's going to give me 2. So I know that this is half, and I'm going to divide these by 2. So 8 divided by 2 and 16 divided by 2. Well, we know that 16 divided by 2 is 8, and 8 divided by 2 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 4 because I have 4 in each circle. So now we're back to 4 out of 8, which we did before, and we know that this is half. So we know we're going to do 8 divided by 4, and that's going to give us 2. So I'm going to divide both the numerator and the denominator by 2. So 4 divided by 2 and 8 divided by 2. 4 divided by 2, we can just look at this again, right? Because we've got our 4, and we can fit 4 on here. Oops. Well, we can fit, it is not balancing, but we can fit 4 white ones on here. So it would look like this. I've got 4 white ones, and if I'm going to divide that by 2, it means I need to split it into 2 equal groups. So I've got 2 and 2, so my answer is 2. So my new numerator would be 2. Same with the 8. I know I can fit 8 on here, so it would be 8 of the little ones. And if I divided them by 2, if I split them into 2 equal groups, I would have 4 and 4. So my answer would be 2 out of 4. So remember, we can still make this smaller. So we know that 4 divided by 2 is 2, so I'm going to try to divide each one by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So I've gotten back to 1/2. So we can reduce this fraction to make it half. I also noticed something when we were dividing, that when we kind of got down to it, so when we got from 8 out of 16, then that made it 4 out of 8, and then that made it 2 out of 4. And then here we did 2 divided by 2, and 4 divided by 2 was 1/2. When I did 6 out of 12, it became 3 out of 6. And then I did 3 divided by 3 and 6 divided by 3. And this gave me 1/2. What I noticed here was when we kind of got down to the last one, we had to divide the top number by the same number. So we did 2 divided by 2, that's the same number. And we have to divide the denominator by the same number. So it was 2. And then we got to the last one here, and we did 3 divided by 3. Well, 3 is the same number. And then we had to do 6 divided by 3, and this gave us 1/2. So kind of when we got to the end of it, we divided the top number by itself. So I'm wondering, when you get to the Skittles problem and you're reducing the fraction that is half, I want you to think about that pattern, but also think about what you can divide it by. And we will talk about the answer on Google Classroom today and on the assignment. And tell me what you got for your answer. And I want you to just let me know if you thought it was challenging, if you thought it was easy, and just how it's going with reducing fractions, if it makes sense to you. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.